All right, this week, Vice President Kamala Harris addressed the powerful American Federation of Teachers. They were gathered in Houston for their annual conference. This was the first time that the vice president, now as the presumptive Democratic nominee for president, it is the first time as the new candidate that she has addressed this crowd. And I must say it was like the woke leading the woke. It was quite a joke, and I'm not even a poet. But joining me now with her reaction to all of this is Meg Kilgannon. She's FRC's Senior Fellow for Education Studies. She also served in the Department of Education under the Trump administration. Meg, welcome back to Washington Watch. It's always an honor to have you, especially for a topic like this.
It's great to be back.
All right, I want to begin with a clip and then make a comment and get your reaction. Play, if you will, clip 5 for me.
As we all know, Randy is a force, and she has been an incredible friend and an advisor to the president and me. And I want to thank you on behalf of the president and me and our country for all that you are.
All right, so we're talking about an individual here who is an advisor to the president and the vice president, a great friend, a great force. All right, now with that as the backdrop, Meg, first of all, a two-part question here. Tell us about the AFT, this American Federation of Teachers. What can you tell us about them? And then specifically, the president of that organization, Randy Weingarten.
Sure. The American Federation of Teachers is a teachers union. The National Education Association used to demur at actually being called a union. They would simply insist that they were a teachers association. They're a little more honest about that now. But the American Federation of Teachers is absolutely a union. It represents teachers, it represents healthcare workers, it represents bus drivers, janitors. Lots of people are members of the AFT, whether they're in the education field or not. And Randy Weingarten has been leading this union for a long time. She's very close to the White House. She's very good friends with Dr. Jill Biden, who herself was a teacher. She is absolutely considers herself a player in politics, and I wouldn't see why she wouldn't, because when they were keeping schools closed at the beginning of the Biden administration, the AFT was a key advisor to the CDC in developing the plans for school reopenings, which were actually plans to keep schools closed. And we all know the harm that that did to children and families.
Okay, so that's people just need to know that backdrop here. What type of things has this AFT been pushing? What are they all about? When we say they are woke, I'll put that on the table.
Sure. They're for all the things that the Democratic Party is for when it comes to education. They're for making other people pay the debts of students who took out student loans. They are for they're against vouchers, any kind of school choice. They are for increasing teacher pay, and they are all about using their union dues and their union members in Democratic Party politics in the terms of manning polls, turning out voters. All of the machinery around the Democratic Party is based on union people largely doing that work, and this is a union that does that work.
Yeah, and they overwhelmingly this week voted to endorse Vice President Kamala Harris as the Democratic Party's presidential nominee, just as a case in point. That is who they are. Now, the vice president spoke to the teachers who were gathered there, and once again, we saw it a little bit earlier, she accused conservatives of trying to ban books. You got to respond to that.
Sure. We're not about banning books. We're about having children protected from inappropriate material in their school libraries. And any book that's not selected by a library can still be purchased at Barnes & Noble or any other bookstore, on Amazon, or any number of places. So the book is in no way banned. We simply do not allow certain materials to be presented to children when they are incapable of understanding them or they are inappropriate educationally. And so this charge about the banning books just rings so hollow. Parents can see right through that. And it's such a weak point for them. I'm surprised she brought it up, but I guess it must work with their base. And of course, the Democratic Party really needs to reignite their base. I was surprised at the speech's content in terms of her use of the word extremist in relation to Republicans. It was a very inflammatory speech, I thought, and given the recent assassination attempt on former President Trump, I was pretty shocked at the incendiary nature of some of her remarks in this speech.
Well, it just never ends. We've been watching this kind of rhetoric for years. We've only got less than a minute or so left, but a potential Harris administration, what would that look like for education and our children, real quickly?
Well, she absolutely is a progressive's progressive, Vice President Harris, and so she will be doing all of the things that the Biden administration has been doing and then some. You can plan on more student loan forgiveness. You can plan on more political content in classrooms. All of the same things that you've had in the Biden administration will continue in Harris administration, unfortunately.
So compared to the Biden administration in education, would she be better or worse?
I would imagine she'll be worse.
Wow. Thank you, Meg Kilgannon. Always great to have you on the program. Appreciate all you do. Thank you. Have a wonderful weekend.
Thanks for having me.